Senator Hanson, sorry, you're on your feet.
Thank you very much. One Nation will be supporting this bill, but I'd like to make a few comments. The purpose of the bill is to increase the number of farmers entitled to temporary fortnightly income support payments, as well as assistance for their farm business. As the Minister for Agriculture and Water Resources, Minister Littleproud, said, the bill proposes to pay a supplement to all eligible farm household allowance recipients that is in addition to their fortnightly income support payments. He went on to say in his speech, Australian agriculture is a story of success, resilience and prosperity. Am I missing something? Or maybe a lot of Australians are. It is in some sectors, but over the years we've seen the destruction of many farming families that have actually been destroyed, either by drought, lack of assistance by governments, not only this one but previous Labor governments as well, and, might I add to that, is their reluctance to have a Banking Royal Commission, and now we are in the process of that. We find the problems that the farming sector has also had in dealing with the banks, loss of properties, devastation, suicides and everything that's happened. But also, what about the permanent changes being made by foreign ownership? Problem is the foreign ownership of key agricultural assets. Asian countries are not satisfied to buy food from Australia. They want to own the means of production and turn our farmers into farmer subcontractors. Since the 1990s, overseas companies have been buying up food production assets in the form of dairy cooperatives, egg farms and meat processing works, fish canneries, sugar mills and grain businesses, with the result that much of our produce is being exported. There is no legislation to prevent shortages of Australian primary produce. For example, shortages of baby formula are common, and Coles has a limit of 2 cans of baby formula per customer. In 2016, Chinese interests bought 17,000 hectares of dairy production in Tasmania. They now lease 2 Qantas flights a week to take fresh milk directly to China. Foreign purchase of dairy farms in Australia has changed the industry. We now have significant foreign ownership of our dairy production. The remaining smaller family-owned dairy farms are struggling and leaving the industry because of the low farm gate price being paid to processors. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, the ACCC, has found that supermarkets selling home-brand milk for $1 a litre is not to blame for the low prices paid to dairy farmers, and the ACCC has called for a code of conduct to strengthen farmers' bargaining power and improve their share of profits. The ACCC has recommended a code of conduct being legislated for dairy farmers. I remember that when I was actually in this parliament, even back in the other place, in the late 1990s, 97, 98, the deregulation of the dairy industry has brought it to its knees. Farmers were suiciding. Both sides, both the Coalition and the Labor Party, have been charged with reins and have done nothing about it. That's why we see the demise. In Queensland, we are down now to under 300 dairy farmers in Queensland. We're importing about 1 million litres of milk from Victoria. We are going to see us importing milk from New Zealand if we don't protect our farming sector. We've seen the demise of the pork industry, we've seen the demise of the orange growers, and this is because of governments here in this place have not done enough to look after. At the last minute, when our farmers were on their knees, you're actually wanting to throw out a few pittance. That's all it is. It's absolute pittance. And too much I see in this chamber that people are getting up and standing and talking about what is happening in other countries around the world. Here we have farming sector that provides food on our tables, and you are not doing anything about it. And then you stand up and you criticise because the other side hasn't done enough. You both have to take responsibility for this, because both sides have not done enough to actually protect the farming sector. We have the land, we don't have the water. What has either side done about allowing more dams to be built, putting the Bradfield scheme, the water scheme, bring the water down from the Ord to water inland Australia, that will actually give people the hope that we are not going to continue to go through drought year after year after year, and then when they're on their knees, you throw in millions of dollars at it, and that money can be put into building more dams and pipelines to give us the water to grow the food that we need. But then again, if we do that, you probably just sell the water to foreign ownership anyway, so we won't own the water. That's exactly what you've done. And I talk about food security. We've allowed foreign ownership of too much of our farming land. Now they are actually sending most of the product to their own countries. Not only the farming, but also the gas. So what we've lost is foreign ownership in gas, electricity, dairy products, milk powder, hay, the fodder. We're now actually going through a hard time here. We will not be able to have enough feed for our own farmers here, but we've got 1.2 million tonnes of feed in storehouses, if not already on their way to China, Japan and Korea, that you're worried about feeding their stocks. Well, the government should actually step in and say, we're not going to see that feed leave our country. And that goes for all other products here. If we have so much foreign ownership of these farming lands producing the food, we can do nothing to intervene to stop them exporting that food to their own people, and we cannot stop it. And we've allowed this to happen, and that's why Australians are so angry with both the major political parties that are not dealing with the real issues that concerns them. Australians do not want foreign ownership of our land. And I'm sick of hearing about your excuses. They can't take it with them. They can't take it away. The fact is it's going from paddock to plate. Paddock to plate, that means, and they own everything. They own the land, they own the trucks, they own the ports, as they do with the Darwin port, and they're moving in more and more to take up the assets that should be in the hands of the Australian people. I want to offer a congratulations to the Australian people, the hundreds of thousands of people that have rallied around to donate to the farming sector. And I'd like to congratulate those farmers that have given their feed, their crops, their hay to help their counterparts in other states. They themselves have gone through extremely hard times, and they know what it's like. That's why they're actually giving, not selling, but giving their hay to those struggling farmers. And I take my hat off to them. That's what the Aussie spirit is all about. But they are doing the job of what the governments in this place should have done. Too little, too late. But I will support this. I do support the farming sector getting that helping hand, which they need. But I'm warning this parliament and the governments, start looking after our food producers, the farmers out there, because we're losing them. They're walking off the land and they're willing to sell to foreign ownership, and you're allowing it to happen because you're not giving them any hope, any vision for the future. You've sold them out, and it's a shame on you.
Thank you.